Is former Tottenham Hotspur midfielder Jamie O'Hara. Jamie, give us your verdict on Amorim in one word.
Sacked.
Oh dear, right. Not been so much good news for Manchester United though. Is it time up for Ruben Amorim at Old Trafford? Jamie Carragher described his reign as a disaster last night and said it has to end quickly. United lost to Brentford at the weekend and Amorim has taken just 34 points from 33 Premier League games.
Why do you think he is still in a job?
I think he's still in a job because I think the powers that be at Manchester United have made that many mistakes so far in decisions that they've made on and off the pitch that they almost don't want to admit right now that they've made another. And this has been a disaster for Manchester United, but also Ruben Amorim. What he did at Sporting Lisbon was fantastic. You know, he looked like the next big thing as a manager, but bringing a manager like that in terms of the system that he played, I don't think ever really suited the club of the traditions of Manchester United. And the quicker Manchester United make the decision on the manager, I think it's better for everybody because, as I said, it's been a disaster for club, but also the manager. And we're only waiting for the inevitable, I think. Unfortunately, as Duncan's just said, you don't want to see people lose their jobs, but this has to end as quickly as possible.
Right, waiting for the inevitable has been a disaster. It has to end. It says it has to end quickly as well. Jamie, I know you agree with that.
Yeah, look, I feel like a broken record, and you know, Jamie's right. It really is a disaster. It's been a complete nightmare for Man United, and you know, ever since he's come in, I've not seen any type of improvement. And you could argue last season it wasn't his team, and he come in and he didn't really want the job until this season. But I cannot believe how bad they've been and how stubborn he has been as a manager. Like, I get it. At Sporting, he done really well. He played a system. He had the players that worked. But, you know, you come into Man United, you come into the Premier League, it is a completely different ball game. And I just think he's out of his depth. He's out of his depth. It was too big of a step for him. It's too big of a job. And he's crumbled. And, you know, when I watch him, the formation, I just don't get it. He hasn't got it for that. The players, the midfield, he got no legs. You're trying to play Bruno in there, it don't work. But just the way he is as a manager as well is so emotional. You know, he can't watch penalties. You know, he sits in the dugout, he hides. You know, he stands on the side of the pitch, and I'm not convinced that he really knows what he's doing. It's been such a poor appointment for Man United. And the quicker they get rid of him, the quicker they're going to get better. Because I don't actually believe that Man United are that bad. I think they've got some good players. But the formation they're playing does not suit any of the players that want to play in that formation.
Our poll today on the Sky Sports News X page is, should Amorim get more time at Manchester United? And 67% are saying no, he shouldn't get more time, with 33% saying yes, he does need more time, as you can see there. But last night, Duncan Ferguson, it was only joking when he said that anyone saying yes to that question is probably a Liverpool fan.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
That was obviously a joke, but are you... There's more saying no than we did this poll last week, but they've just beaten Chelsea this time. They've just lost against Brentford.
Yeah.
But we've done polls like this with other managers where the no percentage has been much higher than that. So Amorim does have some backing. Well, he's got a third.
Yeah, but look, I think there's Man United fans out there who are sick and tired of seeing, you know, the change of managers, and it's just a rotation of, you know, the same old thing. Players come in and they're not good.
Is this excuses for the manager though? There's always an excuse. Yes, he didn't want the job immediately. He wanted to take to the summer. It's the people above him who are the problem.
Yeah.
The recruitment's been poor. We don't know how much part of that he's had. Are they excuses or genuine reasons?
I think there's genuine reasons in certain things, you know, like player recruitment, you know, the players there, the mentality at Manchester United. I don't think it's just Ruben Amorim's problem. I think there is a culture at Man United which has rotted that football club from the inside, and they cannot get rid of it. No matter who they bring in, they are struggling.
What if it's someone who's been in it when the culture's been good? Like, I said Carragher before, the people who've been there, all right? Like, people who've been there who understand how the culture was, they'll understand how the culture
but you can't keep living
even if it's not as manager.
No, I know.
In some way, can you get them in there?
Oh, 100%. Michael Carrick, Kieran McKenna, he come through. Roy Keane. I mean, like, I'm amazed that no one has phoned Roy Keane and said, can you come in at Man United and be part of what we're doing here? Because he is arguably Man United's greatest captain. Like, he is a leader. He's unbelievable. When you watch him, he's ferocious. You know, you listen to him when he walks into a dressing room. You're gonna listen. You know, he's gonna lead by example. He's not gonna allow poor standards. I cannot believe that Manchester United have not phoned Roy Keane and said, maybe he can't be the manager, right? Maybe because he's maybe too hot-headed. I don't know, but you know, they want someone in with, you know, maybe a bit more tactical now, so whatever. How Roy Keane isn't in at that football club, in that dressing room, in there every day, in the training ground, telling them this is the standard, this is what's Man United, this is what we've built, this is how we do it. I cannot believe they've not done something like that. You're getting all these weak managers, all these weak mentality people in there, and I look at it and go, Man United, this is Manchester United. You're getting beat by Brentford at the weekend, 3-1, and it's not even a surprise. I cannot believe how far they've fallen. I cannot believe how bad the standards have got. And people are just accepting it, like just accepting being bang average. It's Manchester United, the biggest club in the world, alongside Real Madrid, and they're terrible. Like, beyond terrible. Every time I watch them, I'm like, this can't continue. This cannot continue. What is going on? How is this allowed to happen? For me, they should be getting him. Roy, I'm sorry, I know he works for Sky and he's brilliant and I love him, but he needs to be at Man United. He needs to be in that dressing room saying this is the standard of this football club, and if you ain't going to be part of this standard, you're gone out the door. This is the mentality we're having from day one when I come in here. Ruben Amorim's come in and he's binned off Rashford, he's binned off Garnacho. You know, I'm trying to change the culture. He can't even watch penalties. Don't tell me he can change the culture of a football club. He's against Grimsby. He's not the guy.
Roy Keane's last few jobs have been as an assistant manager. When you say he couldn't be manager, he could come in that.
To the mounting pressure on Ruben Amorim, and Jamie Carragher says it'll be better for everyone if Manchester United part ways with their head coach, labelling his time in charge a disaster. Defeat at Brentford on Saturday was United's third in 6 league games, leaving them 14th in the Premier League. It also prompted the club's all-time leading goalscorer, Wayne Rooney, to admit he's lost faith in Amorim.
Why do you think he is still in a job?
I think he's still in a job because I think the powers that be and Manchester United have made that many mistakes so far in decisions that they've made on and off the pitch that they almost don't want to admit right now that they've made another. And this has been a disaster for Manchester United, but also Ruben Amorim. What he did at Sporting Lisbon was fantastic. You know, he looked like the next big thing as a manager, but bringing a manager like that in terms of the system that he played, I don't think ever really suited the club of the traditions of Manchester United. And the quicker Manchester United make the decision on the manager, I think it's better for everybody, because, as I said, it's been a disaster for club, but also the manager. And we're only waiting for the inevitable, I think. Unfortunately, as Duncan's just said, you don't want to see people lose their jobs, but this has to end as quickly as possible. His baby is his system. It's like asking Jurgen Klopp not to press or Pep Guardiola not to play short passes through the middle of the pitch. This is what he is. That's on Barada or Jason Wilcox or Jim Ratcliffe. They brought him in. Talking about him changing centre-backs, a stat came out that he changed in his 49 games, 42 times he's changed the back three. He did that at Sporting Lisbon. You knew that when he came in, the powers that be. So that's the big problem there. But the problem, I think, when you look at Ruben Amorim, I think every other Premier League manager would look at Manchester United and think, I could do a better job than that. And the only positive for Manchester United is they haven't gone all in on his system. They've gone all in on him in terms of giving money to spend, but they haven't brought lots of centre-backs. They haven't brought lots of wing-backs. The players they brought in the summer can easily be flipped into a back four, getting Bruno Fernandes as the number 10, Brian Mbeumo right wing, maybe Cunha to the left, Sesko up front, and I think a competent football manager could get that Manchester United team in that system to the European places, or certainly fighting for them.
Well, Wayne Rooney has also had his say. Speaking on his BBC podcast, Rooney said this: at the minute, we're all sitting there waiting for it to crumble. The culture of that football club has gone. What I'm seeing at that football club is not Manchester United. I honestly hope he can turn it around, and he does. But after everything I've seen, honestly, I've got no faith in it.
Let's start, though, with the second part of my interview with Jamie Carragher, ahead of tonight's Monday Night Football. We've already discussed all things at the top of the Premier League. Now we are talking about the team down in 14th. Yes, Manchester United. Back in the Monday Night Football studio with Mr. Jamie Carragher, your old mucker, Gary Neville, saying that this recent run of results for Manchester United is catastrophic. Can Ruben Amorim survive this now, Jamie?
I think it's going to be tough for him. It's something we're going to, analyse and look at the game from the weekend at Brentford. And I think the sad thing about it for Manchester United probably supporters right now is it's not really a shock result now. You look at Man United going to Brentford, the early game of the weekend, and I don't think many people would predict Manchester United to go and win. I don't think they would. Anyone looking at the coupons or whatever they were predicting when they were doing the bets maybe over the weekend, I don't think many people are predicting Manchester United to win at Brentford. And Brentford going into that game, I think, were fourth from bottom. And probably that's the sad state of affairs where they find themselves.
Where does the blame lie? Where's the issue? It's not the system 1 week according to Amorim, and now he's saying he doesn't even know which team is going to turn up and he's the manager. That's quite worrying if you're a United fan.
It is worrying, and again, it's something we're going to get into in a bit more detail tonight. But, I mean, the system, you keep talking about the system, it doesn't suit the players that are there. I totally understand that, but the powers that be that employed the manager knew what system he played, and that's what gave him success. So if you've had success as a manager, that's what you're always going to go back to or fall back on when things aren't going well. So I can understand that he sticks with the system because that's his baby, that's his thing, that's what he does. So the people in charge at Manchester United picked a manager who doesn't sort of stand by or signify, certainly going forward, the traditions of that club going back, 40, 50, 60, 70 years, because, it's a team, it's a big pitch, fast wingers, and the system he plays just don't employ that at all. So it always felt a strange fit in terms of the system from the very start.
And you think so stubbornly he'll stay with that because if he dies on that hill, that's what he's all about. So he's got to go to the end with that right now.
He will, because, I mean, I get it. I understand it. It's like trying to ask Jurgen Klopp to stop pressing, or Pep Guardiola to playing short passes through the middle of the pitch. That's their thing. That we all see the game differently. That's how he sees the game. And I'd love to one day actually get him on this show and actually speak to him about, what is about that system specifically that gives you think you'll get better results than maybe another system. It'd be really interesting to hear him speak on that. But no, I think if he changed now, it's not a system he's ever really played too much as a manager anyway. We've highlighted this numerous times, and lots of people have on different shows. I think he's played a back four or five times as a manager. So to keep asking him to change is you're just wasting your breath. It's not going to happen.
Inevitably, the question will move to who, if he is to go, when it next, which is, I'm sure, something you might be discussing later on.